Oklahoma never got closer than 9 down the stretch. Gonzaga not only wins, but they cover the spread, which got all the way to 15.5. So Gonzaga, first 2 games, they had the largest spread in the first round, easy cover. Largest spread in the second round, not easy, but still they cover. And Gonzaga will play the winner of 13th seeded Ohio and the 5th seed Creighton, a game just after 6 o'clock Eastern time this evening. A 6th straight Sweet 16 for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. That's the longest streak since Duke had a bunch in a row from 98 to 2006, and it's 25 straight wins by double digits. All right, let's bring in Chip Patterson. Chip, look, I'm nitpicking here, but at this point, that's all you can really do against Gonzaga. At some point, does defense become a concern? We saw the way Oklahoma got out to a lead in the first half, and they were kind of in it, you know, between 9 and 12, 13 points in the second half. Is that going to be a concern for the Zags moving forward?
I don't think so. I don't think that the defense specifically is something that the Zags are going to be really concerned about. And I look at the way that they were able to lock down when it really counted and be able to create some points off turnovers. When I say when it really counted, I'm specifically talking about the way that they closed the first half. And you're right to be able to identify that in the highlight. That to me was where this changed, because Oklahoma was starting to get some confidence. And what the undefeated Gonzaga Bulldogs needed to do was just throw a big punch and reassert their dominance within the competition. And that was on both ends. They were able to force a couple turnovers. They were able to turn those into some points, and they were able to really very quickly jump ahead. The other thing is, I look at this matchup, and it wasn't necessarily like Gonzaga, bombed Oklahoma out of the building, and they only hit 8 threes in this game. This wasn't a great Jalen Suggs game. I thought he did a good job of being aggressive when some of the shots weren't going down from outside, getting to the line to get some easy buckets. And then, the Drew Timme aspect of this works on offense and defense, because he goes 12 for 14 from the free throw line. Oklahoma has absolutely no answer to try and contain Timme down low. But then on the other side, the way that Drew Timme is able to be a versatile defender, guard pick and rolls, come all the way out to the 3-point line. When Drew Timme is guarding Austin Reeves out on the perimeter, you're talking about a defense that, based on the pieces, is very, very tough to find a weakness against. Now, there is energy, effort, and I do think there were some lapses there in the second half as Oklahoma was able to climb back. But I like this game and I like this result. And here's why. Oklahoma's a top 40 team. I think it's probably fair. According to their seed, they would be, top 32, top 35, somewhere around there. But we don't get to see Gonzaga get tested by opponents like this often in the West Coast Conference. Much love to BYU's Mark Pope, and the Cougs did a great job, remember, in that WCC championship game. But Oklahoma is a team that never quits. They're going to make you fight for everything. Lon Kruger is an excellent coach, and I thought that he came back with a great game plan to get the Sooners back in it after halftime. We just don't get to see Gonzaga face those, I don't even need a top 10 team, Chris, but those top 30, those top 40 teams that are rock solid, have a player like an Austin Reeves, a Brady Manick, the kind of ones that can just cause just enough trouble to make you uncomfortable. And that's what Gonzaga got, was the feeling of being uncomfortable. It is not something the Bulldogs have had often, but it is something that they will face if they win a national championship. So they get tested, they're forced out of their comfort zone, they have to come up with the response, and I think all that is great big picture for the Zags.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me into what I wanted to ask you next, was that it's been a long time since we've seen them face, a team with a lot of talent. Now, nothing against BYU. BYU is a really good team, made the tournament this season. They pushed Gonzaga in the WCC championship game, but it had been a long time, months, since they had faced a team like Iowa or Kansas or West Virginia. So what did we learn today about a Gonzaga team that hasn't faced these kinds of athletes in a while?
Great question. They have responses, and that it's when the plan A isn't necessarily working, they do have so many other ways to beat you. They did not shoot the ball well. I mentioned they did not shoot the deep ball well. So what did they do? They got really aggressive and started going to the rim, because when players that are this skilled, I mean, we got 3 NBA players between Jalen Suggs, Corey Kispert, and Drew Timme. When players that are very skilled get to the rim, they're going to make good finishes and score, or they're going to get at the free throw line, or it's going to be a little bit of both, and you're going to get an and one opportunity like you saw from Drew Timme right there. And so to know that when you aren't going to be able to just make it all glitz and glamour, up tempo, shooting threes, making it rain, when that's not working and you've got to go be a little gritty, I think we saw Gonzaga be a little gritty. That is to beat Oklahoma, you got to get ready to play a little bit of a fist fight of a game. And I think that to see the Bulldogs were willing to engage with that is incredibly exciting if you're a fan. Now, to your point about the talent, I mean, what, Creighton or Ohio as the winner? I'm not sure either one of those teams potentially has the talent, but we know what the goal is for this group. It is to win a national championship, and to do that, they will be facing more teams with talent closer to what they have. Even acknowledging that Gonzaga, even from the West Coast Conference, might have one of the most talented teams in the entire country.
Yeah, they're going to be a double-digit favorite in the next round in the Sweet 16 against either Ohio or Creighton, and then they'll face either Oregon or USC or Kansas, and could potentially be a double-digit favorite there as well. So the question that I've seen a lot on social media now is, with all these, the teams that we thought were going to be a challenger, like the Illinois, maybe even the Iowas, they're out. So do you take Gonzaga right now, Chip, or do you take the rest of the field?
I'm gonna stick to my guns type, and I've got Alabama winning the national championship. And since Nate Oates and the Crimson Tide are still alive in the tournament as we're talking right now, I will take the field, but I will expand it to look at the Baylor Bears, who, from everything that we saw in that first round game, they just look awesome. You know, Scott Drew said afterwards, speaking to Dana Jacobson, that he felt like this Baylor team was finally starting to look like the Baylor team pre-COVID pause. Now that's going to be difficult to maintain, you know, once you move out of your first round, and once they move out of the second round, things really start to heat up as we get into the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. But Alabama is my national champion pick. I love everything that I've seen from the Baylor Bears through 2 games so far. One of the best teams in the field for my money, based exclusively on what I've seen in the first 2 rounds. Michigan is still alive. If Juwan Howard can conjure up some answers and they can come out with a really strong response, even without Isaiah Livers in the lineup, I still think that there are enough top tier teams within that the field bet that I'll stick with the field for right now. But Gonzaga, you know, just like Baylor, it just feels like they're checking boxes. And even when we nitpick, it feels like they've had good counters and good answers when things haven't gone well. All
right, that's Chip Patterson here on CBS Sports HQ. I gave him the chance to take Gonzaga, but he's going to take the field because he had Alabama winning it all in the first place. And that would be a really interesting game, the way Nate Oates' team gets up and down the floor, the style of play against Gonzaga. Download the March Madness Live app. There you can watch every game live in its entirety.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.